Good morning, people. And yes, it is a good morning. Not particularly warm, but it's one of those days that still feels nice. Isn't that great? Nothing really to report. Just heading down to the mailbox once again. It's my daily exercise sort of thing. Still got weeds in the driveway. Got a bit to do on the driveway. Never goes away, does it? Well, the work, not the driveway. Anyway, just to see whether we've got some deliveries. And no, not yet. Our planters are looking quite nice. Next door neighbour and I combining our efforts. She put some azaleas in there, which is one of my favourite plants. Not that I'm a garden guy, but hey, I make the planters. Oh, and I do weeds really well too. Oh well. Anyway, I was thinking about my clamping up requirements, and I was poring over some video to see some ideas, and quite frankly, haven't come up with any yet. Nothing that would be usable. Most of the situations are for where the clamping is for solid timber, heavy solid timber, and that's not what I'm doing. So this sort of thing is at the moment what I'm contemplating, and it might be one of those ideas that you just throw in the rubbish bin and say, look, don't worry about it. It's not going to be of any real benefit, and sometimes you can't come up with an idea that works. But that doesn't stop me. The problem is that I'm thinking is, if I were to clamp something up like this, and there's a lot of clamps for what it is, and that's part of the problem, the timber is thin and needs a lot of support. It's not like it needs all these clamps to pull it together. It needs this number of clamps to give it enough pressure points to not let the strip flex. So, and in doing that, there's a lot of interruptions to the cleanup, and underneath especially I wanted to be able to get access to, and even though this one's proved to not be easy, I just run underneath with a wee bit of the scraper, and it's actually the other opposite end of the glue spreader, and then a wet rag to clean off the excess, the squeeze out. But it would be nice to be able to actually get round on that other side, the underside, and that's where I came up. I thought, well, maybe if I hold the panel vertically, which would be against the bench, then is there a system that can be created to clamp it, and that means I can get to both sides. The more I started to think about it, that's why I was looking at the videos, perhaps using clamps isn't the way to go, but to use how would you say, it's like a clamping bar, which would mean there would be virtually no, how would you call the rails of the clamps wouldn't be there at all. Now imagine you had a panel sticking up vertically, and attached to the workbench is an L or an L shape, an upside L, that you can use for putting bolts into, and then you can wind the bolts down onto the clashing strip, which means that bar could be could have as many holes in it as necessary. Pop the bolt into it, and then you can screw the bolt head down onto your clashing bar, on clashing strip, creating a whole lot of pressure points to clamp up, and you've got nothing on this side that's all above it. It's going to have to be one of those things of, yeah, sounds good, Dave. Is it actually doable? Because the number of, or the rigidity of the L bar, well, upside down L bar, whatever, would have to be reasonable for it to work. And for it to work might make it too impractical. So there's all of that. There was one option I thought, well, can we reverse it and turn it so that that's actually pushing down onto the clashing strip that I'm talking about, is pushing down onto the actual table. That is being held, we're going to call straight, by the table, and or we could have our pressure, this thing here, we could have the strip with the wee pads on to give the pressure points. We could have that on the table. Clashing strip goes on top of it. So there's, so you can imagine that the pressure points would be, evenly distributed along the clashing strip. And then the whole board can be pulled down. The board itself becomes the beam that gives it rigidity. So it might be that it only needs 2 clamps or 2 or 3 clamps along the edge. Is that possible? That might mean that I can get to where the glue squeeze out on both sides. That has some merit and might mean not having to have these big clamps or have a whole series of big clamps. So you can well imagine that if this panel were to be clashed, and this is an original idea because I'm thinking of it as I'm talking, but we'd have this set up on our workbench. We'd put our clashing strip on top of it with glue, and then we could tip the panel up like this, sit on the clashing strip, hopefully, and not all slide off. There's one of the problems. And then we could clamp either end of the actual panel down to the bench top. So that's not unreasonable. The panel's not going to flex, is it? So that's good. That's not going to flex because it's sitting on the workbench. That might have to have a wee bit of a thought. And it does away with all the clamps. So a setup held at 90 degrees, not particularly hard to do, clamped to the workbench itself and the panels, seems doable. It may be that we combine the longer or a clamp with a shop-built extender to cater to whatever size we need and clamp it up. That encourages me a little bit, actually. It means I have to get this tidied up and functional, which it certainly isn't at the moment. But I like it because that's actually simple. It might be so simple it works, or so simple it's an abject failure. But well, that was worth coming out to the shop just for that. It was only coming out for a brief look at it. It was, well, the itch that need to be scratched sort of thing. And by rejecting quickly one idea and coming up with that, That's really good. I like that. But it does require my bench, which I haven't got, which I still have to finish. It's one of those chicken and egg things. I have to finish this to get to the bench. That would be great to be able to use to do this. So it's like, darn. So I should have really finished that first, shouldn't I? The bench thingy. Oh well, there you go. Okay, no, that's actually given me a wee bit of encouragement to finish everything and trial it. Quite like that idea. Rightio, that's it. Going in for a second or third cup of tea, and then I'm coming out to trim these clashing strips off. Maybe trial just with the track saw to trim them, because I had issues with that. I think for the most part I didn't leave the panels, pointing camera in the right direction, David. I didn't leave the panels long, which I intended to do, so that's annoyed me a bit. But I wanted to leave them long and then cut the clashing strip and the panel to size, so I get a nice tidy cut. So a bit annoyed at that. A couple of the panels are long, luckily, but yeah, darn it. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Yes, today. Not doing it right now because I haven't got my safety boots on. Well, I have, depending on... I watched one guy, and Mike from Dirt Perfect, and he quite often is in his workshop doing some quite heavy type of engineering work, and he's got Crocs on, and it's like, it's a comment generator, he calls it, or it's like, no, you shouldn't be wearing them. Get some steel cap safety boots or something, or whatever the equivalent would be nowadays. That's all I wear in the workshop is the safety boots. I don't wear anything other than that, for the simple reason that I have dropped things on my feet, and that's not good. And sometimes I use my boots as a tool for moving things, and yeah, not safety boots. Okay. Like that idea of the clamping approach. So yeah, I'll do that. I've got to do a wee bit of tidy up outside and what have you. It's a bit windy. Yeah, it's cool enough. This is quite typical for it. As I was mentioning the other day about Christchurch weather, it can be actually a nice day, but you get a cold breeze. But coming into middle of spring and summer, it's what saves our city, is the breeze. Otherwise it would be a very, very dry, hot, unpleasant area. Rightio, that's it. Enough said for this video. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye now.